So earlier this week, I talked about Joe Rogan and an interview or video that he did that got heavily edited by BSDNC. I mean MSNBC. And now there's a rumor going out there saying that he could sue MSNBC. Now, again, this is a rumor, and I think it's only fair since I covered this segment that I do a follow-up on it. Because, look, Joe Rogan is a front and center kind of person, but is Joe Rogan suing MSNBC? Rumor and Kamala Harris's connection explained. So let's talk about it. So Joe Rogan is in the middle of a fresh controversy. This time it's not his fault, but this time it's MSNBC, the alleged perpetrator, and it's linked to Kamala Harris' 2024 presidential campaign. This isn't the only reason the Joe Rogan Experience podcaster is in the headlines this week. His latest comedy special, Burn the Boats, just hit Netflix. Despite shooting up to first place in the streaming service's top 10 TV shows chart, his set, which involved jokes about the vaccines, the LBHQ, has been slammed as unfunny. I bet it's funny, and I hope Joe Rogan comes to Chicago. So there you go. Amid the tumult, a new rumor has emerged suggesting that he's taking MSNBC to court for a large sum of money. But is it true? I haven't seen him post anything or tweet anything out. So the thing is, until you hear it from him or somebody representing him, the answer is a most definite no. Let's talk about it. MSNBC shared a compilation of clips from the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, episode 2182, in which it appeared the host was showing support for Harris's run for president of these United States. In the original video, Rogan can be seen saying she's a strong woman. She's a person who served overseas twice. She was a congresswoman for 8 years. She's a person of color. She's everything you want. Served overseas twice. So Kamala served in the military? What? No. Is that true? What? I don't think so. I mean, there's only one other person that has done that, who has, served. But again, we will get to that far later. But continuing on, he later says she's going to win. Along these clips, you hear the news outlet wrote, Joe Rogan predicts Kamala Harris victory in November. However, the video has since been replaced with an altered version saying she's going to win comment before switching the clip and says they just want no Trump. No matter what, they're willing to gaslight themselves. In the updated TikTok, MSNBC similarly stated Joe Rogan said on his podcast that he thinks Vice President Kamala Harris will win the presidency. But the caption also includes the following correction. We removed an earlier version of this post that incorrectly implied Joe Rogan was talking about Vice President Kamala Harris. He was referring to Kamala's kryptonite, Tulsi Gabbard. That's right. That's right, folks. That's the truth of her. He was referring to Tulsi. He wasn't referring to anybody else. And from what I'm able to look up here, Kamala never served in the military. 8 years? 8 years? She served overseas twice? What? Wait a minute. United States Senate? She's Attorney General for California? And that's it. She was never in Congress. I mean, she was a prosecutor. That's it. That's right. That's all there is. Nothing about anything else. That's right. United States Senate of California, Attorney General, District Attorney for San Francisco. Nothing about serving in Congress. So MSNBC did an altered version of this. Let's pull up something else here too. Let's see. What did he really say about Kamala? MSNBC is accused of taking Rogan's quotes out of context. The unedited segment of the podcast episode shows Rogan being damning of Harris's campaign and media manipulation. It all bothers me, the fragility of the human mind. Everyone forever was like, Kamala Harris was the worst vice president. She's the least popular vice president of all time, he says. And then in one moment, a moment in time, all of a sudden, she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story about her. You won't find one because they've all been scrubbed off the internet. If you check my previous conversation that I did with Nico House and Nick Cruz from RBN, they both say the same thing. Her whole history is being scrubbed away. Rogan goes on to ask his guest, do you think they have her medicated? Because there was a guy that was speculating that some of the things she says, the way she sort of disconnected sometimes, she goes on these rambles that's indicative of certain anti-anxiety medications. I do not know if that's true. If you could find that, because we really shouldn't say that about our future president. She's going to win. She could win. Is he actually suing BSDNC? I've been seeing these tweets, and I'm glad. Listen, always double check, because until you hear it from the person themselves, they're not doing it. I stand corrected. Snork Y2K says Kamala as VP flew over the Gulf of Mexico twice. Well, that's it, folks. It's over. I, Kid Adrian Cabello, am now resigning as the host of Hard Lens Media. Kamala Harris flew over the Gulf of Mexico twice. Once again, I have failed. This is my defeat. Congratulations, liberals. You won. Nah, get the hell out of here, man. But until you actually hear something from Joe Rogan. So the thing is, would it be a smart move to do? No. I think right now, if I was Joe Rogan or anybody else, I'd be rolling and laughing at MSNBC. I want to pull up this video here again because everybody caught it. Again, Congresswoman Kamala Harris served in the Senate, Attorney General, District Attorney. That's it. But Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan was referring to her.
Not sure if you guys caught this, but MSNBC was exposed today for yet another set of lies. They deceptively edited together this video of different Joe Rogan comments to make it appear that he was singing the praises of Kamala Harris.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. She was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. She's going to win.
No, she's not.
She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
This is not reflective at all of the truth of what Joe Rogan said. And I think MSNBC has since taken this post down. But what's really serious here is that not only does Joe Rogan deserve an apology, there's actually something far bigger at stake here. This is yet another example of how MSNBC is working hand in glove with the Democrat elite and the Kamala Harris campaign to try to spread lies, simply things that are not true. So what this means is MSNBC is a for-profit corporation. They are helping Kamala Harris's election campaign. And what they are doing through their platform would qualify as an in-kind contribution to her campaign. It's worth a lot of money. The fact that they are doing this should require the Federal Elections Commission that manages campaign spending and campaign finance to require them to report this as an in-kind campaign contribution or to be punished for abusing their position in trying to use their platform that has nothing to do with journalism. It is purely a propaganda platform, and that they are using this in order to try to help Kamala Harris get elected. These people need to be held accountable for what they're doing, because otherwise they will continue to do this, continue to abuse their platform and their power to try to deceive the American people and help her get elected.
But I'm sorry to disappoint all of you, but apparently looks like Rogan ain't going to be suing nobody. I visited his Twitter account, nothing there, but this did happen to him. My goodness. They got him. They got him, Rogan. He's behind bars. Kamala did the one thing that all the vote blue, no matter who people want. Only one more day until Joe Rogan's live special on Netflix. Saturday, August 3rd, 10 p.m., 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. They got you. They got you, Rogan. He's not suing nobody. He's in the jailhouse now. So I had to do a follow-up to this because I'm seeing all these tweets of saying, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? No. The best move Joe Rogan can do is, once again, dust off the mic, make fun of BSDNC for it, again, twisting his own words and confusing Kamala was Tulsi Gabbard, purposely, by the way. They purposely edited that. Listen, MSNBC, this really says a lot about MSNBC. Do you have any editors or fact checkers working for you anymore? I know you're laying people off, but I mean, it's always important to double check and triple check your work before you post anything online. Always double check and triple check. And oh my goodness, nobody bothered to look at, wait a minute, hold on. Once we edit this thing together, won't there be like a smart person on the internet that would figure it out? And that's how corporate media views all of its viewing audience members and anyone else online. MSNBC views us as simpletons, that we wouldn't figure it out. Now, maybe there are people there at MSNBC that like to be humiliated. Who am I to kink shame? Maybe that's what they like to do. Maybe they like being yelled at by their superiors. Maybe they just like being humiliated. Maybe the bosses at MSNBC like their workers to put out subpar material. Well, okay, you did something stupid. And you've given plenty of material for Joe Rogan and anybody else, myself included, including my audience, because I want to bring all of you involved too, to laugh and make fun of you. Because it's A-okay to make fun of you, corporate media, because you're incompetent. You're supposed to be the news, and you don't fact check or double check a video before you post it online.
I'd like to take my whole discography, cram it in your generator, dial it to Zionist. I'd make my very own Antichrist, Jesse Jet but fascified, and settle things with violence. In half a line I'm dialed in, leave him no identity to shield behind or hide within. I'd like to pull out all his talking points, disconnect his socket joints, cue the tiny violins. Posthumous synthetic beetles, USA by proxy. Toxins in your water, tiny plastic in your offspring. Plastic in the groundwater, plastic in the clouds. Oxys in the reservoir, we tried to flush them out, but we didn't move them very far, just out into the river, where the critters didn't want it, but we nonetheless delivered. Impact isn't something we historically consider till our waterways are fetid and our crops are dry and bitter. We won't connect the dots before the heavy cost to enter, before the DNC would see us vote for lesser Hitler. America by proxy, propaganda for beginners. It's Jimmy Kimmel interviewing chatbot Heinrich Himmler. As those who march for peace are being gassed by the police, a separate, safer crowd demands the bombing never cease, till all that's left of Gaza are its ashes on the breeze. Only then can the oppressor soundly sleep. America by proxy, 2023. It's the AI-rendered Beatles John and George were forced to be. It's AI-rendered Edith Piaf singing on your screen as the wishes of the dead are dipped in piss behind the scenes. And that's what gives that hideous, uncanny valley sheen, that plastic sort of lifelessness that's seeping out the seams. The hologram of Freddy they tried passing off as queen will tell you death does not release you from contractual routine, won't free you from the leeches that already drank you clean. The suited, smirking parasites were not so quick to flee. Your body won't be cold, but they'll be plugging tours and teas. They plotted out your comeback, you just won't be there to see. America by proxy, a giant failing mall, a year at most from shutting down and leveling it all. And once it's been demolished, I'll come leave a ring of salt and pay respect to John and George. I know it's not their fault. I'd like to take my whole discography, cram it in your generator, dial it to Zionist. I'd make my very own Antichrist, Jesse Jet but fascified, and settle things with violence. In half a line I'm dialed in, leave him no identity to shield behind or hide within. I'd like to pull out all his talking points, disconnect his socket joints, cue the tiny violins.